and why we should, glorify them and follow their footsteps. So my class, it's a mercy that it is also related. And as always, I would say the class is for myself, and all of you wonderful devotees can only correct me and also add to what I have learned, and this way help, and maybe in this process through the interactions, something could be beneficial to you as well. My journey in ISKCON started, it's more than 10 years. However, I've remained superficial all these years, and maybe with the passage of time and this great association, either it is that I am getting qualified now, or it is, this realization that now I'm trying to get more knowledge and get deeper. So when I took the last two sessions, I read about Lord Chaitanya and his primary associates, and then we discussed that it was a wonderful thing for me to see, from where it started. And I'll continue today on this one. So let's begin first with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Neshtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha. So on the screen, if you are able to see the screen, what do you get from the screen?
The four sampradayas.
Yeah, four sampradayas. Yes, wonderful, Prabhuji. So which one, which sampradaya we are in?
Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, Prabhu. Brahma
Yeah.
Madhva Sampradaya, Prabhu. Correct.
Yes, Prabhuji, you are correct. Yes. So let's go to the next slide. So this is, I've taken a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 3, Chapter 13, and verse is 8. Goes like, Tad videhi namastobhyam karma swiyadma saktisu yat kritveha yasho vishvat amritasya bhaved gatihi. Tad videhi namastobhyam karma swiyad saktisu yat kritveha yasho vishvat amritasya bhaved gatihi. Yeah, anyone would like to recite?
I will try, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Tat videhi namastubhyam karma siddhyatma chaktisu yat kritveha yaso visvat amrita cha bhaved gatihi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anyone else would like to try?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. I will try, Prabhu. Tat videhi namastubhyam karmasya idayatma sakshitashu yat kritvesho vishnave amutra cha bhagavet gatihi.
Tadvidehi namastubhyam karma swiyadma saktisu yat kritveha yasho vishwa amritasya bhavet gatihi. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, Prabhuji, we can move to the next slide. Yes, anyone would like to read the translation?
May I try, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh wonderful one, please give us your direction for the execution of duty within our working capacity so that we can follow it for fame in this life and progress in the next. Shall I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Brahma is the direct recipient of Vedic knowledge from the personality of Godhead, and anyone discharging his entrusted duties in disciplic succession from Brahma is sure to gain fame in this life and salvation in the next. The disciplic succession from Brahma is called Brahma Sampradaya, and it descends as follows. From Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhava Muni, Puran Prajana, Padmanabha, Nrahari, Madhava, Akshobhya, Jayatirtha, Jnana Sindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma, Purushottama, Brahmanya Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, Lakshmipati, Madhavendra Puri, Ishwarapuri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarupa Damodara, and Sri Rupa Goswami, and others, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami, Krishna Das Goswami, Narottama Das Thakura, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakura, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami. This line of disciplic succession from Brahma is spiritual, whereas the genealogical succession from Manu is material. But both are on the progressive march towards the same goal of Krishna consciousness.
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So let's move to the next slide. So this is a pictorial representation of the purport that we just went through. So here you can see from Lord Krishna to Lord Brahma, and then how this disciplic succession is ongoing. And there is a mention of a verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 2. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasrayo viduhu. So through the parampara, how the knowledge is flowing through this succession. So yeah, yes, probably. So here, I think this is familiar to all of us, right? Most of us have in the altar. So can anyone tell who are these?
Prabhuji, from left to right, it is. Can I try? Sorry, Prabhu. Can I try?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, from left to right, it is A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Next is Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj. Next is Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Next is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Next is Jagannath Das Babaji. And then for 6 Goswamis Prabhu. I'm sorry, I cannot recognize who is whom. Kindly forgive me for that. But I can just try to name Prabhu with your permission.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So it is like Sanatana Goswami, then Rupa Goswami, then Jiva Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Gopala Bhatta Goswami.
It's wonderful, Prabhuji. Thank you again so much. So, so what is the relation between Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji Prabhupada?
Saraswati Thakur is the guru of Srila Prabhupada.
Okay. And what is the relation between Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ji and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is father of Saraswati Thakur and as well the Shiksha Guru of the Saraswati Thakur.
Shiksha Guru of?
He is the father of Saraswati Thakur as well as the Shiksha Guru.
Okay. And who is in between?
He is Kishore Das Babaji, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji.
And what is the relation between him and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and also with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur?
So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the initiated disciple, the only initiated disciple of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur is the Shiksha Guru of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji.
Okay, amazing, Prabhuji. Great, great. So for me, as I said in this class, I wanted to, understand more about all of these great, devotees, acharyas, and all the gurujans. So I knew very little about them. So I have in this class collected some information about Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and with your kind permission, I would like to discuss more. Though all of you know, and just as Prabhuji answered all the questions. So as we learn more about him and as we discuss, it is his life is unbelievable in terms of what he was and what he did, and it is again Aituki Krapa on us that we get qualified to know about him. So Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he was born in 1838. And he is considered as the Param Guru of our Srila Prabhupada, just as we discussed. And mostly is famous for the way he lived his life, the process of Bhakti Yoga. And also he's known as his unorthodox style, so he's known as an Avadhuta. Now, Avaduta, you have to put it in the right context. So, means transcendental, right? As a sadhu, as a Babaji. Yeah. So, Srila Gaura Kisora, he was born in Vagyana village in Faridpur district. This is modern day Bangladesh. And this was on the banks of river Padma. In those days, so he had a child marriage, and in terms of his profession, he worked as a grain broker, and then he was known as Vanshi Dada. His wife passed away, unfortunately, when he was just 29 years, and immediately after that, he gave up his material life. Yeah, yes, please stay here. Yeah, he gave up his material life. And he moved to Vrindavan. And in his gurus, as we just discussed, so he got the first diksha, or he got this Vairag Vesh from Sri Bhagavat Das Babaji Maharaj. And Bhagavat Das Babaji Maharaj was a disciple of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji. And following this, it completely changed, and he became a Sakshat Vairagya Murti, a great example of detachment from this world. So, the next 33 years, he was in Vrindavan as a mendicant, moving from the forest to the forest, the 12 forests under the trees at Giri Govardhan, Nandagrama, Barsana, Radhakunda, Suryakunda, Raval, Gokula. And he was always very deeply absorbed in singing and chanting the sacred names of Radha and Krishna. He used to sit in seclusion and we do 16 rounds, the devotees do 16 rounds, but he was doing 128 rounds of japa each day, and more than 200,000 times is taking the names of Krishna. And always he felt the painful separation from Radha Govinda, and he used to cry a lot. So on the next slide, we have from the prayers to the acharyas that emphasizes a lot on his love for Krishna, and at the same time, this detachment from the material world. So it goes as Namo Gaur Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasam Bude Padam Bujayate Namaha. So I offer my respectful obeisances unto Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, the spiritual master of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who is renunciation personified. So there's a lot of emphasis on the next one, which is Vipralamba Rasambude, Padambujayate Nama, Padambujayate Namaha, is always merged in a feeling of separation and intense love of Krishna. So it is said here that when there is detachment, complete detachment from everything else, then there is only attachment to Krishna, right? And nothing else, right? And that is what Srila Gaura Kishora is a living example, and this is how he lived his life. So while, as we discussed, that he was moving around from forest to forest and deeply absorbed in singing and chanting, doing japas, he used to cry profusely, and always he was remembering Radha Krishna. Right? So there is a very famous bhajan of his. So kindly next slide, please. Yeah, one more slide. So he used to sing Kothai go Premamai Radhe 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 Jaya Radhe Radhe Dekha diya pran rakho Radhe Radhe Tomar kangal tomai dake Radhe Radhe Vrindavana Vilasini Radhe Radhe Kanuman Mohini Radhe Radhe Ashtasakir Shiromani Radhe Radhe वृषभानु नंदिनी राधे राधे कुथै गो प्रेममयी राधे 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 जय राधे राधे दिखा दिया प्राण रखो राधे राधे तुम्हार कंगल तुम्हार धके राधे राधे वृंदावन विलासिनी राधे राधे कानु मन मोहिनी राधे राधे अष्ट सखीर शिरोमणि राधे राधे Vrashabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe. So here Kanu is Krishna, as you know. And Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj was always in intense love for Shri Radha Krishna, always missing, always crying, always always doing the japa, remembering them, forgetting everything else, detached to everything else. And this is what he was singing. So the translation O Radhe Radhe, where are you? O goddess of ecstatic love. O Radhe Radhe, all glories to you. O Radhe Radhe. O Radhe Radhe, please show yourself to me and maintain my life. Your most despicable fallen servant calls out to you. O Radhe Radhe. O artful enjoyer of Vrindavana. O Radhe Radhe. O enchantress of Kanu's mind. O Radhe Radhe. O Radhe, O Christ Jewel of your 8 main girlfriends, and O delightful daughter of Maharaj Vrashbhanu, O Radhe Radhe. Next slide, please. So now I'll continue So, yeah. No problem. We'll stay on the previous slide. So I have some notes I would like to share. So Srila Babaji Maharaj's mood of renunciation was unparalleled. He slept under a tree, and sometimes he would eat just mud from the banks of Radha Kunda or Yamuna. And other times he took madhukari from Rajvasis. So madhukari is Babaji's daily practice of begging a little food from 1 to 7 houses, just as a bee collects a drop of honey from each flower. And such great his greatness that he would see all the Vrajvasis as the direct personal associates of Shri Shri Radha Krishna. So as a result of this vision, he used to pay respects to everyone in the Braj Mandal. So whether a person, whether a cow, any animal, bird, tree, creeper, even insects, ants in the holy Dhama, he would pay respect to them. He is considered as the crown jewel of all those who did bhajan in Vrindavan. And you would be amazed to know that his only positions were his neck beads and the chanting beads, and not dependent on anything else. Right? While this long stay of 30 plus years in Vrindavan, he used to make a flower garland every day for Rai and Kanu, that is Shri Shri Radha Krishna. After 30 years of rendering intimate services to Shri Shri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan, Babaji felt inspired by the divine couple to see Navadvip Dhama. Also, in 1893, when the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was inaugurated at the Sri Mayapur Yoga Peeth, then Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj also asked him to move and stay in Navadvipa. So when Sri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj moved there, he visited all the Leela Sthanas of Lord Gauranga in the Gaur Mandala. And in Navadvipa, he used to always sing one bhajan, which means by receiving Nitai's mercy, one gets Gauranga's mercy, which makes one eligible for Krishna Prema. With Krishna Prema, one can attain the service of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. So by receiving Nitai's mercy, one gets Gauranga's mercy, which makes one eligible for Krishna Prema. And with Krishna Prema, one can attain the service of Sri Shri Radharani and the gopis. So during his stay at the Navadvipa, Babaji went through various transformations of the spiritual moods. We already know how he lived in Vrindavan, completely detached from everything, intense love for Shri Shri Radha Krishna, not depending on anything, paying obeisances to everyone in the Braj Mandal, including the animals, insects, not depending on anything, eating mud from the banks of Radha Kunda and Yamuna. And then when he has moved to Navadvipa, this is further. So he would sometimes dance on the banks of river Ganga, chanting Gora Gora, while at other times he would just lie on the ground in an unconscious state. He would joyfully move around through the groves located on the banks of Ganges, considering them sites of the divine sports of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is also considered as the embodied form of Sri Rupa Raghunatha Das Goswami's renunciation. Why so? Because with complete detachment, he would wash the discarded clothes Sometimes people would bring bodies for cremation and their clothes would be, thrown around. So those discarded clothes Babaji would pick up and then just use to wash and cover his body. The clay pots which people use and then throw, he would just pick up the discarded ones, not even the full pot, the broken pot. So he will take some pieces of that broken pot. And then he would take parched rice mixed with the water from the river Ganga, or again some mud from the bank of the river, and this is how he would sustain his life. Right? Whenever there was Ekadashi, then he would not eat or drink even a drop of water. And sometimes he would forget that Ekadashi is already over. So this would run into days, not just a one day. As people begin to realize that he's a Mahabhagavata, so many tried to, come close to him and to serve him, but he never accepted. And it is explained that to keep such mundane people from approaching him, who would always approach for the material boons, most of them. So he one time resided in a laboratory in the Kuliya Dharamshala in Koladvipa. He was there almost for 6 months. When the news spread, then the public officials came and they said that, why are you in a lavatory? Why don't you come out? We will build a proper toilet for you. We will build a proper kutir for you. And but Babaji Maharaj would keep himself locked inside, and he would say that, I already have a place to stay. Don't worry, just go away. So the greatness here is that he believed that associating with the materialistic people was much worse than the smell of stool in the latrine. So he stayed, he was locked inside and he would not meet people. Babaji had 2 books with him. These books, the names are Prarthana and Prema Bhakti Chandrika, and they are written by none other than Sri Narottama Das Thakurji. And anyone who approached him, he would ask to read and practice from these books. So, the songs that we sing, example, Shri Guru Charana Padma, Radha Krishna Pranamura, all these recite are coming from these books and these great acharyas, and even Prabhupada has written purports to these songs. So while in Navdvipa, Babaji used to associate and hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So as we discussed that Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is also his Siksha Guru. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was living in Swananda Sukanda Kunja in Godruma Dvipa. So one important thing here is that though Babaji was not meeting anyone and he was, living on his own, in seclusion, intense love for Shri Radha Krishna, but he did attend these sessions from Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Babaji could not read or write, but he was always regarded as very vastly learned and a self-realized soul. So there in Navdvipa, he was also accredited and exalted and given the exalted title of Bhajananandi. And in his praise, Srila Bhakti Vinoda, always seeing the transcendental behavior of Babaji Maharaj, he used to, when he was addressing, he would take his example as Nirapeksa, indifference, as his level of renunciation. we discussed was beyond belief. It was unbelievable for the normal people, even for the devotees then. So he was given this title of Bhajananandi. So continuing here, we will discuss about the initiation of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji. So this is in 1898 when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji, who is son of Bhakti Vinoda. So this is the first time he came in contact with Babaji, who was going to be his spiritual master. Right? So Babaji gave Bhakti Siddhant, who is just a boy then, so he gave him 4 or 5 pieces of rope with the knots for doing chanting, and a tilak stand for marking the body with Hare Krishna carved on it. Now, Srila Bhakti Vinoda, he told his son that if you have to take initiation, then you must take initiation from Babaji only. And do not return to home if you are not able to take the initiation. That's how Srila Bhakti Vinoda talked to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So then, while it was initiation, so Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is known as Vimla Prasad. So, as we discussed, he was very, very much impressed with the ojas, the tej of Sri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. And he took a vow that whatever happens, I would take the initiation from him only. Now, whenever he would approach Babaji, so Vimla Prasad would say, please give me initiation, please accept me as your disciple. However, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji would tell him, come after 2 days. Then he would say, no, I need to check with Mahaprabhu. Then he would say, well, Mahaprabhu is okay, but maybe I am not okay. Like that, this just continued. However, Vimla Prasad was also very determined, and he told to himself that even Sripad Ramanujacharya was returned 17 times by his guru. So for me, it is just 3-4 times that Babaji has rejected me, returned me, but I will continue. So the persistent efforts continued. However, they were not giving any results, and even Srila Bhakti Vinod, requested Babaji to take Vimla Prasad as his disciple. And Babaji would tell Srila Bhakti that he's just great. Please don't worry. I think very good of him. It is just that I'm testing him. So one time, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, who used to cross the bridge. So this was a daily event, and same time. So one time, Vimla Prasad blocked his path, and in all humility said that I've been trying persistently. I've been pleading with you. A lot of time went by, and if you don't now give me initiation, then I'm going to finish my life, and there's no point of this useless body. I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to jump off this bridge. So Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj did not want any disciples. He was living this life of complete detachment, and as we know that he considered Bhakti Vinoda as his Siksha Guru. And this was Bhakti Vinod's son, right? And finally, with his, he decided to have mercy on Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji. So on this moment, which is captured here, it is a great description that Babaji took dust from his lotus feet and then he just sprinkled, he put it on the head of Vimla Prasad. And it is mentioned here that after that, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ji felt completely ecstatic. He remained so for more than 3 days. And the name that was given by Babaji to him was Varsha Bhanavi Devi Daita Dasa. So it is explained here that this is Vishvanu's daughter, which is Shri Shri Radharani. And Daita is one who is most dear to Shri Shri Radharani. So we all know that who is most dear to Shri Shri Radharani and his Dasa. So Vashvanavi Devi Daita Dasa. This is a name given by Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He also gave his new initiate whatever he had, like a basket, which he had actually got from his spiritual master, Bhagavad Das Babaji, which he had received from, which in turn he had received from Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. So the greatness of Babaji is described by Bhakti Siddhanta, who said that if my Guru took Krishna's name only for 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds, and kept only what is left 1 second for himself, then maybe, I would have thought otherwise. So it's unbelievable how he has described Babaji. So we'll continue as some of the instances while Bhakti Siddhanta is serving him or trying to serve him. So this is in 1908 when Babaji Maharaj lost his external eyesight. So he stopped traveling and he just chanted and continued his worship of Krishna. So being completely aloof from the external consciousness, living in a completely different world, in the spiritual world, sometimes he would even forget to, cover his body and just sit completely absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. And people passing by could, hear a very deep voice calling names of gopis of Vrindavan continuously, remembering the pastimes. Seeing his state, once Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he offered Babaji Maharaj that I'll take you to Kolkata to see an eye specialist. However, Babaji would completely refuse. He would say that, no, I would never go to the material world. Then Bhakti Siddhanta would say that, no, we would be able to serve you nicely there. You will not have any inconvenience. But Babaji Maharaj was very adamant and he would and declare that I will never accept this material service. And when they kept insisting, so Babaji Maharaj, jumped into river. He said, I'm going to, kill myself unless you stop. And with great difficulty, Bhakti Siddhanta and the other devotees, they brought him back. There's another instance where it was almost like 2 a.m. when suddenly Babaji appeared at the Yoga Pitha, which is Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. So Bhaktisiddhanta could not believe how Babaji, who's blind, he has great difficulty to walk without support. And this is 2 a.m., which is like pitch black in the night. How he could come there? He has to go through across the river and then walk through the fields. And then he asked Babaji that how could you come here at this time? So Babaji said, well, there was a boy who brought me here. And Bhaktisiddhanta inquired that a boy at 2 a.m. in the morning would walk you here. Who is that? So Babaji said, no, just a boy. So we all know, what happened here, right? So it's Krishna himself who would have brought Babaji to the Yoga Pita. Another instance where one time Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he completely wrapped his body and feet with a cloth and completely covering himself. He said, when people talk to each other, they come and then they bother me. They come here, they say, we want to collect the dust from your feet. And I tell them that I'm not a Vaishnava. You can go to other Vaishnavas, who may have a very decorated feet and, they may bless you, but I don't have anything to bless you. I don't have a barfi, I don't have a sandesh, rasgulla. I don't even have sweet words. So I cannot bless you. And you would explain that nowadays the people are interested in such kind of spiritual masters who can give them all things of pleasure, right? Material benefits. However, these things should not be taken as favorable. So another time there was when Babaji again locked himself into a toilet and he was just not coming out. Right? So people tried, but it did not work. So when the news went to Bhaktisiddhanta, he sent one of his disciples. The disciple's name is Vinod Bihari Dasa Brahmachari. Said, go and see what's happening. So Vinod Bihari said, well, he's not opening the door, and how would I succeed? Said, no, I'm telling you something. You just go and say that, and then you will be successful. So Vinod Bihari went there, and he tried, but the door did not open. And then when he said, well, actually, I'm Bhakti Siddhan's sevak. So immediately the door opened and Babaji jumped out and then he hugged him and put his hand on Vinod Bihari's head. It was a great honor and we felt extremely blessed. So Babaji Maharaj, his only disciple is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And though he is his disciple, but for Babaji, he would always say, he's Amar Prabhu, and have so much respect. So just to, for your information, Vinod Bihari Das Brahmachari, then known as Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj is actually the sannyasa guru of Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. So very interesting to know this. Then there are a lot of incidents from his life. We talked about how Babaji would rejecting the people, not letting them come close. So whenever anyone was trying to touch his feet, then Babaji would say, he would get very angry. And then sometimes he would say, you are doomed. Then people would fear that, oh my God, we come here and touch his feet, we want to get blessings. And he is angry at us, and then he is saying that you are doomed. People would get completely shocked. However, Babaji was not interested, and when he was saying you're doomed, he was actually giving a blessing for their material life to finish or to let go their material life. One time, a doctor from Kolkata came and met Babaji and said that I want to open up a health clinic in Navdeepa Dhama, and it will be completely free service. So he felt that Babaji would be very happy with his intent, right? However, Babaji told him that, well, if you want to live in Navdeep Dhama, then you give up your desire to run this clinic, because this clinic is for healing who? It is for the healing of the sense enjoyers. If you rather want to render service, then leave everything, renounce everything, except whatever which promotes Sri Hari Bhajan. All other kinds of duties and services simply bind us to this cycle of karmic reaction. So you renounce everything and then just come over and then devote yourself. One time, a married man wanted to take some advice from Babaji. So Babaji told him that a Vaishnava wife, is extremely rare and difficult to find in this world. So if you have a good fortune, then one may be able to get it, and then get one, and then you should see her as a benediction from Krishna. The wife worships the husband as her Lord and Master. Similarly, the husband should worship the wife because she is Krishna Dasi, a servant of Krishna. So in this way, the husband can protect his devotional enthusiasm by not considering his wife to be a maidservant, but she is always the maidservant of Krishna. So beautifully described how somebody who is entering into a grasta, even with respects to each other, can fulfill and move on the path. Babaji talked about, as we know, that he was not eating anything. Sometimes while in Vrindavan and also in Navdeep, he would just eat the mud from the banks of the river. And whatever that was discarded, left over, sometimes on the discarded pots, pieces of the pots, he would take some parched rice and eat that, mixing with the water or the mud. So he talks about, he says, one who wants bhojan will spoil his bhajan. This is one of his favorite quotes. So to explain further, eating here and there simply to gratify the tongue destroys the attempts to worship Krishna. So one time, one devotee, his name is Haren Babu, he ate in a local festival. He got some prasad. So Babaji Maharaj got very angry with him, and then he said he was not talking to him for 3 days, and the 4th day he told him, "You accepted prasad in this local festival without knowing from where it is coming, without knowing about the origin of it. Those people who are sponsoring it, their character is questionable." So that's why Babaji Maharaj was very angry with him. So very important learning for us that we need to know the origin, and then whether it is the offering is made to Shri Radha Krishna and we are taking that as prasad. So every time all the virtuous people around, they were always looking to do service to Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. However, as we know, he would never give this chance to anybody. So one time it is explained that Manin Chandra Nandi is the Maharaj of Kasim Bazar. he sent one messenger to escort Babaji to his palace. Babaji, however, did not accept Maharaja's invitation. Then, and he said that if I'm going to visit the palace, then I would be tempted by the wealth of the Maharaj, and this will not, this will not help. So Babaji instead suggested that Maharaj, why don't you give up your complete wealth? You distribute and donate your wealth to your relatives, and then come to live with me at my kutir, and then both of us can just devote our time and practice Hari Bhajan in peace. Another instance where this was Srila Sanatana Goswami's disappearance. So Gaur Kishore said, we're going to celebrate this occasion. So the other devotees there, they asked him that we don't have any material when we are doing any celebration. How we are going to serve or feed the devotees who would come there. Then Srila Gaur Kishore just said, keep in mind, do not even talk about it. So we will miss the meal and then just go on chanting around the clock. So this would be a festival where nobody would talk about any meal or anything else, and then just spend all the time chanting. This is the greatness of Babaji Maharaj. Another time, one resident of Agartala, his name is Narendra Kumar Sen, he approached Babaji and said, okay, I want to know about Guru Pranali or the Siddha Pranali. So Gaur Kishore, Babaji told him that the Supreme cannot be realized through worldly knowledge, and this is possible only through the chanting of the holy name, that the true nature of the Lord will be revealed. As the Lord is revealed from the letters comprising of the Nama, the devotee gradually begins to understand his own nature and becomes acquainted with Seva. Another time, one young seeker who used to wear only a kopina, he would stay with Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and he would seek permission to stay with him. However, Babaji would not say anything, so he just stayed. Later, he arranged some land, and this was through an estate owner who owned the agency, and then he got 5 katas of land as a donation from the owner, who was a woman. So when Gaur Kishore heard about this, he was very, very annoyed. He said that this devotee of mine who has just came and is living here in wearing a kopina only, how he could arrange this land. And he said that Navadip Dhama is beyond this material world. How can a worldly landowner dare to hold the land here? And how can they even think that they can donate 5 katas from it? He said that just a grain of sand from the transcendental Navadipa is more valuable than all precious gems of the world put together. So another time, a devotee offered some sweets to the Lord, and then took that as an offering to Srila Gaur Kishore. And Gaur Kishore explained to the devotee that those who are offering to the Lord with a particular motive, their offerings actually never reach Lord Gauranga, and that can never be treated as a prasad. Another time, one man went to Babaji Maharaj and then said, Babaji Maharaj, please be merciful to me. Please provide your mercy to me. And he kept on repeating. With that, Babaji Maharaj got a bit annoyed and he said that, you want mercy? Then come here, take this mercy. Then he just handed a pair of kapinas, the langoti. And then here it is explained that what is the purpose of just a langoti, a kapina. So when a guru is giving sannyasa to someone, so then what can that guru give to that devotee, right? Can give just this kapina and then the mantra, right? So the intent is that the person will at once become, renounce from the world, give up his attachments, and fully apply his body, mind, and words to the service of Krishna. So, what it is said that what else could be a greater mercy than this? So, when that young man, heard this from Babaji, he got frightened and he ran away from there. Another time, a devotee brought a very expensive, very nice quilt for Babaji Maharaj. Said that it's very cold and you should cover yourself in this. However, Babaji Maharaj took that and he put it over, just that bamboo shelter. In fact, Babaji Maharaj did not have a place also to stay. He had just like a destroyed, overturned boat. He had put up 2 bamboo sticks and then he was just lying under that. So he kept, he put that quilt on the top of the bamboo shelter. And when the devotee asked, no, it is for you. Why are you putting on top of that? He said that, the cold would run away seeing the quilt on the, on the top of the kutir. Another time, another young boy, he was actually from a wealthy family. He ran away from the home and then came to Babaji Maharaj and said to Babaji Maharaj, I just want to stay with you. Right? Again, Babaji Maharaj wouldn't say anything. So the boy just started staying with him. He would arrange water for Babaji Maharaj, try to do other services. And then very soon he started telling people, look, I'm a disciple of Babaji Maharaj. But we know that Babaji Maharaj did not have any disciples. So the boy just stayed with the Babaji Maharaj. And then he started thinking that actually, well, I'm staying here, I'm doing some service, but I'm not getting anything from this one. So I should rather return to the material life. So then he ran away from there. And a few weeks later, he came back to Babaji Maharaj with a beautiful young girl from a wealthy family next to him. They had actually married. So he offered pranam to Babaji Maharaj and said that I have now entered the sansara of the material world. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written in his Gitavali, Krishnera Sansara Kara Chadi. So we should give up our offenses and perform bhajanas as family men. Therefore, I have collected a Krishna Dasi. So please be merciful to her and to me so that we can engage in bhajan and have a successful material life from here onwards. So Babaji Maharaj said, you have done so well. I'm very pleased. So what you have done is you have collected a Krishna Dasi, right? That's how you're describing this woman you have married. So now you should do one thing. Every day you should offer puja to your Krishna Dasi. Every day you should cook an offering for her. And then offer her pranam and also some flowers. And you should say that you are a Krishna Dasi and very dear to Sri Krishna. but at the same time be aware, and then don't try to enjoy, anything else, or else everything would be destroyed for you, and you would be heading to hell. So when the boy heard this, he got completely shocked and got speechless. Immediately, he called his Krishna Dasi and again escaped from there. So, so it is said here that it was just not possible to deceive Babaji. One time, Sri Gaur Kishore, as we know, that he was always living on the rice that he begged for, and then he would cook that rice, offer, and then honor it. So during the monsoon days, it so happened that the vessel in which the rice was there, a snake passed by that vessel. So there was a woman who happened to see that. So immediately she called Gaura Kishore Babaji Maharaj and said that I just saw a snake. The rice could be poison. Please don't take it. Right? However, Gaura Kishore Babaji Maharaj thanked her and then requested her to leave. And he said that for me, I do not want to have any association. I do not want to even have this mercy, which is Maya's arrangement. I would rather, eat this rice, but kindly leave the place. So he didn't want to have any chance of, Maya impacting him. Another time, there was one devotee, Giri Babu. He and his wife, they pleaded with Gaura Kisora to come over to his house and stay with them in Navadvipa. So Gaura Kisora would refuse, but then he was moved when they kept requesting him sincerely. And then he said to Giri Babu that, okay, I'll come. However, I have a condition that I would stay only in your toilet room, and then I would perform Hari Bhajan there. So this was a shocker for Giri Babu and his family. And they pleaded with Babaji that how is this possible? Please, change your mind. However, Babaji remained adamant, right? So finally, Giri Babu had to agree and then, arrange. So again, the learning here is that a realized soul can practice Hari Bhajan anywhere in an unconcerned manner. And wherever this realized soul lives, that place and is performing Hari Bhajan becomes Vaikuntha. So Srila Babaji is a very highly spiritually advanced soul, and he one time one devotee asked about another speaker who was a local, locally well known for talking about Srimad Bhagavatam. However, Gaura Kishora, said that he actually doesn't say Gaura Gaura. What he actually means is money, money. And when inquired by the devotee that why exactly he's saying that, because that speaker is actually talking on Bhagavatam and is very famous. Why are you saying that he's actually saying money, money? So Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj explained that anyone who is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam for payment, for speaking and then getting money, they are actually not entitled. They are not qualified. They are not entitled to chant the name of the Supreme Lord and to preach to others. So, as we are approaching towards the end of class, so this was in 1914, June 22nd. that's when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur passed away from this world into his samadhi. Then following that, November 17, 1915, this was when Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, this was on the auspicious occasion of Uttana Ekadashi. He also left this material world. So his body was placed into a samadhi tomb, and after 16 years, there was a flooding from the Ganges River to cut the bank. So the samadhi had to be moved. And at that time also, during the time of samadhi, there were lots of local so-called Babajis who were trying to, claim, the samadhi, but Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji Maharaj, he was there and he said that nobody would touch Babaji. I am the only disciple of Paramhansa Babaji Maharaj. And he would say that if anyone who has renunciate and who has a stainless character, then I would step back and then they can have Babaji Maharaj Samadhi. And then he declared that anyone who had any association with a woman for the last 1 year, they can they should not be they should not be around. Then he said even 6 months, then he said even 1 month, like that. So slowly and slowly everyone disappeared from there, and it was only Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji Maharaj, who is the rightful disciple of Babaji, who had the right to do the samadhi for Babaji. At that time, it is mentioned that there is an inspector of police who had come when this arguments were taking place. And then he asked Bhakti Siddhanta that you asked all the locals there that anyone who had this wrongful association, they should not be here. So how would you believe them? However, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji said that no, I have the confidence and I have the faith that I could, trust them. And it so happened that nobody could stay there except Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji Maharaj. So this samadhi is on the banks of Sri Chaitanya Matha, Radhakunda, near Lord Chaitanya's Yoga Peeth in Sri Dham, Mayapur. So in Vraj Leela, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he is serving Sri Radharani as Guna Manjari, and his Pushpa Samadhi is there besides the Radha Kunj Bihari Gaudiya Mat near Radhakunda. So for us, we cannot touch Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj renounced lifestyle and his high standard, but whatever, even a fraction of it, we can accept and follow the principles that he has established for us. That will enable us to make sufficient spiritual progress. This is what we learn, and he is a great Uttama Bhagavad Vaishnava, and the others are like the Kanishta Adhikari, who would not be able to follow, but whatever little bit that we can get will is sufficient for us to make progress. So we'll continue, and then we will take few of the quotes from Srila Prabhupada, where he talks about Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So next slide, please. So anyone would like to read We have like 6 of them, 3 sheets.
Right, Prabhu. Vedic
Yes.
literature, yeah. Vedic literature, the meaning becomes revealed to a person who has got unflinching faith in God and the spiritual master. Just like Gaur Kishore Dasa Babaji Maharaj, he was illiterate, but he became the spiritual master of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. So the purport of the Vedic literature becomes revealed to a person who has got unflinching faith in God and the spiritual master. The second one, the spiritual science does not depend on one's academic education. You'll be surprised to know that my grand spiritual master, my spiritual master's spiritual master, he was illiterate, and my spiritual master was the greatest learned scholar of his age. Now, how he became the disciple of an illiterate man? So, but that Gaur Kishore Dasa Babaji Maharaj, his name was Gaur Kishore Dasa Babaji Maharaj, my spiritual master, my grand spiritual master. So he was illiterate, but when you asked him some question, some intricate question of spiritual significance, he will answer you immediately very nicely. That is realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So next slide, please. Yeah, anyone would like to read through?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes,
So in the
Prabhuji.
Yoga, we do not expect anyone to be very great scholar. This is not possible. But if he knows what is the aim of education, what is the objective of education, then he is also scholar. Just like our Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he was illiterate. He could not sign his name even, but he became the spiritual master of the best scholar of his time, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati. So it is not the education, ABCD in Bengal was say Anugam. No. What is the purport of education? The purport of education is spoken by Krishna himself. Vedesya Sarve Ahameva Vedya. Bhagavad Gita 15.50. If one understands Krishna and takes to the shelter of his lotus feet, he is our biggest scholar. Srila Prabhupada lecture, Vrindavan, November 28, 1976. There is special example set for us by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who used to sit on the sides of a latrine to chant Hare Krishna. Many materialistic persons used to come and bother him and disturb his daily routine of chanting. So to avoid their company, he used to sit by the side of a latrine, where materialistic person would not go because of the filth and the obnoxious smell. However, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was so great that he was accepted as the spiritual master of such a great personality as His Divine Grace Om Vishnupada Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:18 purport.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So yes, we have a few more quotes. Anyone would like to try?
Prabhuji, I
Hare
would like to
Krishna.
try. Okay, Mamta Mataji, you go ahead.
Mataji, you go ahead. I will take the next one. First paragraph you can take.
Paramhamsa, they do not come in the society because people may imitate and fall down. They fall down. Therefore, they are aloof. Just like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he was aloof, Bhajananandi. But one who will act as a preacher or spiritual master, even if he is Paramhamsa, he should live ordinarily so that his disciples may follow. First stage and preacher is in the second stage.
You say, please continue, Mataji. Thank you.
So far as you're saying second question, Thakur and Bhakti Vinod was not official spiritual master of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was already renounced ordered Paramhamsa. But Thakur Bhakti Vinod, while he was even playing the part of a householder, was treated by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj as preceptor on account of his highly elevated spiritual understanding. The spiritual master is divided into two parts. Thakur was like Shiksha Guru of Gaur Kishore Das, later May 1st, 1969. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Next slide, please.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
So we are receiving knowledge through the acharyas. Krishna spoke to Arjuna, Arjuna spoke to Vyasadeva. Arjuna actually did not speak to Vyasadeva, but Vyasadeva heard it. Krishna speaking, and he noted down in his book Mahabharata. This Bhagavad Gita is found in Mahabharata. So we accept the authorities of Vyasa. And from Vyasa, Madhvacharya, from Madhvacharya, so many disciplic succession up to Madhavendra-puri. Then Madhavendra-puri to Ishwarapuri. From Ishwarapuri to Lord Chaitanya Deva. From Lord Chaitanya Deva to 6 Goswamis. From 6 Goswamis to Krishnadasa Kaviraj. From him, Srinivasa Acharya. From him, Vishwanath Chakravarti. From him, Jagannath Das Babaji. Then Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Bhakti Vinod Thakura, my spiritual master. The same thing we are preaching. This is Krishna consciousness movement. This is nothing new. It is coming down from the original speaker Krishna by disciplic succession. So we are reading this Bhagavad Gita. Not that I have manufactured some book and I am preaching. No, I'm not preaching Bhagavad Gita. The same Bhagavad Gita as it was first spoken fourthly millions of years ago to the sun god, and again it was repeated 5,000 years ago to Arjuna. The same thing is coming down by disciplic succession, and the same thing is presented before you. There is no change. Srila Prabhupada lecture, Pittsburgh, September 8, 1972. Very well.
Very well. Thank you, Mataji. Next slide. So, with your kind permission, I would like to conclude today's session. This is the unbelievable story of Babaji Maharaj, which is even as we discussed all those instances which which I could collect, read, and hear from the lectures. Each one of them is an inspiration for us, and even a fraction of it could completely change our life. So, just to conclude, the essence of beautiful essence of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's instruction is that the divine name of Krishna offers the one and only shelter. The divine name of Krishna offers the one and only shelter. One should never try to remember Sri Sri Radha Damodara's transcendental pastimes with any artificial methods. Constant chanting of divine names will purify the heart. Constant chanting of divine names will purify the heart. By chanting Hari Nama, the syllables of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, will gradually reveal the spiritual form, the qualities, the pastimes of Sri Krishna. Then one would be able to realize their own eternal spiritual form, service, and the particulars of our spiritual identity. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you all for your time.
Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna Prabhu, amazing lecture, and you just taken us like literally all the pastimes of Sri Gaur Kishore's um, Babaji Maharaj. N number of pastimes, Prabhu, like your flow was amazing, and you connected very, very well. Like, okay, it is amazed to see like how he performed his all his leela, like how he was determined in chanting the holy name of the Lord, and many at times like many acharyas have either stayed in Vrindavan or stayed in the Navadip Dham, like okay, and performed their pastimes and like performed their devotion service. But Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was so unique that like he spent half of his life in Vrindavan and half of his life in the Navadip Dham. So he got like both the mercy of the land in his whole lifetime. Amazing to see, Prabhu, like a wonderful narration, and hats off to your commitment and dedication. Hari Hari Bol. Now I'll call upon Sadhu Sevana Prabhu to mention his feedback and comments. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just 1 minute. No, 1 minute only.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhawan Pranam Prabhu. So, thanks a lot, first of all, Vasant Prabhuji, for the Jai Anilo. It was very, very touching, and I really enjoyed. So, thanks a lot, Prabhu. I don't have the words to say. Thanks enough. And then Himanshu Prabhuji, I totally agree with Vasant Prabhuji, and the flow that you started, Prabhu, I mean, it is all like Krishna's arrangement. Like you said, it started from Jai Anilo, and then it was very natural continuation of that only, Prabhu. So started from the parampara and then explained the full many percents of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. So I just want to add, Prabhu, 1 or 2 small points only. Like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji is like the emblem of renunciation, and there was a small pastime, like when we say literate, because in the last few teachings mentioned, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was a illiterate, and Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj was the most scholar of that time. So what do you mean by being literate? If I go to a zoo, and if I am seeing a lion and the elephant and the deer, then you ask me for the description and I can explain you what I am seeing. The purpose of education is to read that same information from the right source, meditate on that, try to feel and come close to that. If you are seeing something eye to eye, heart to heart, all the times, without any gap, 24 hours a day, what education we are actually talking about? So Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj says, Yogita vichare kichu nahi paye, because when Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was saying, like I am illiterate and you are a very scholar, and I will check with Krishna when he was asked multiple times by Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, and then he was told many times that Krishna is not responding. And so this is how like we should see this thing as a pastime, because Arjuna asking Krishna for the doubts, Yudhishthira Maharaj asking Bhishma and Krishna for the doubts. It is their pastime to make us realize Yogita vichare kichu nahi paye. We have Yogita, but we have different Yogita, which is not in the direction of taking us there. And unfortunate part is we are proud of that. Another unfortunate part is we want to progress in that uneducation. We still have the desire to prove ourselves into that. So this is the path. We should be proud of the fact that we are of a parampara where there are no scope of any fall down. They are holding us like a mother carries the baby. They are holding us in their blessings. This is not Kali Yuga. Mahaprabhu says in Kavi Karnapura, Chaitanya Chandog Natak, he says Adharma and Kali Yuga are talking with each other, and Kali Yuga is saying, I am finished, I'm not there, because this is Chaitanya Yuga, Nama Yuga. A person who says Krishna once will never fall down, will never go to hell. Krishna feels obliged for that person who calls him his name even once. Where is the possibility? Even if some other religion people says, I don't know who is Krishna, we don't know Krishna, we know our God, Krishna is nothing. They are saying Krishna unknowingly so many times. And there is a song, Kripa ke bane ho, Kripa hi karoge. Their blood group is Kripa. How can anything non-Kripa can come to us? That is our belief. That is our boat. So thanks a lot, Prabhuji. I wish to be close to what you explained, Prabhu. Kindly bless someday it happens. Sorry, Prabhu, I have to disconnect. From today onwards, we have a program, Prabhu, in our home. So first time, 10 to 11:30, Bhagavad Gita. So I'm really sorry. I will have to disconnect because guests have come outside and I'm feeling little very bad, Prabhu, because they just came and I came in this room. So I feel I did not make the offense, Prabhu. So kindly forgive me for that.
Sure, Prabhu. Like no problem, Prabhu. We are also running late only. Like so, no issues. Please continue and all the very best for your Seva, Prabhu. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'll call upon Venkata Bhatta Chaitanya Prabhu to add his realization and feedback in a very quick manner.
Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam Prabhu. Vasant Prabhu, thank you for the excellent kirtan. Really, that song was very touching. I like that song also. I need to practice. Thank you for starting the day. Coming back to Prabhuji's class, it was very excellent, Prabhu. It was very, what to say, informative to know about Guru Parampara and about the pure Vaishnava, hearing about pure Vaishnava. It is very cleansing us and motivating us to follow them, and importance of life and how we need to carry out chanting and everything. Yes, really it was very informative, very much informative. Thanks a lot for enlightening us, Prabhu. Thank you. Thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thanks, Prabhu. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Now I'll call upon Mamta Mataji to add her realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Both are great Prabhujis are on the floor today. Inspiring and learning, all full learnings. First, I will start with Vasant Prabhuji. Our Vasant Prabhuji always there to give a juice to the session if Vasant Prabhu is leading the show, and that's what happened today. So the kirtan and the explanation, everything was such in a flow, Prabhu. That was tremendous. I really learned a lot from you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for engaging us with such a melodious and wonderful kirtan. Now I'll go to our Himanshu Prabhu. Now, Prabhu, each of your session is always filled with the information, new information. I know on our platform there are Vaishnavas who are already fully equipped with knowledge, information, everything. But for me, it was completely a session with all new information, all the new incidents, and the all event, the all pastime you explained. it shows, Prabhu, that how deeply you had prepared, the session, how deeply, how all the references you have gone through. So that is again, Prabhu, learning for me. And the session was completely full of knowledge, full of information for me, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing what all you absorbed, what all you learned, what all you read. You all poured upon us. You've all poured upon me at least. So thank you very much, Prabhu, for taking such a great efforts. And going back to the parampara, all the disciplic succession, everything you had gone back. The line which I just read at last, the paragraph of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning it again and again, that people, please don't go on my words. Don't go on me, that what I'm saying. Okay, because today I am there, tomorrow somebody else will come, and so on. So anybody will say anything, don't go on that. See the hierarchy, see the succession, the disciplic succession, and then you believe. So ISKCON, that's what, Prabhu, we say that it's not just andhavishwas, it's not just blind faith. There is all proven, there's all transparent, and that is just require a person capability to read and to go to the detail, and the person can find out everything. So actually ISKCON is not meant to just believe just like that, come and just believe on us and you just follow the parampara, you just follow us. No. So that's the reason I also connected with well. However, my journey started first from the feeling with Krishna, and then I went to with the mercy of Santosh Prabhu, I went all through with the detailed information of our parampara. And thanks to this COVID time, when he started the session, and I got to understand all deeper things about ISKCON, why not other, and why others. So these all things I got to learn from Santosh Prabhu, and today you digged out more deeper, you gave me more detailed information. So this is added on, it is a cheese on, the extra cheese on the bread. Thank you very much, Prabhu, my sincere dandavat. And yes, learnings from you, Prabhu, very inspiring. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Ho Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mataji. Just I want to mention, it was just a coincidence. Since I chosen this song, I was not knowing what topic Himanshu Prabhu is going to cover. But it was well aligned by the will of the Lord. Now I'll call upon His Grace Santa Gopeshwar Prabhu and Purna Mataji to add their comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Purna is not here around now. So I will take up the chance opportunity. Yep. So unfortunately, I missed your session, your Kirtan, Prabhu. But what I can hear is I actually missed some aesthetic Kirtan, Prabhu. So sometime when we meet, I would love to hear that, Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Imanshu Prabhu, we have always been saying that, and I would like to reiterate, Prabhu. You have that thing in you. You need to practice. You need to go through Srila Prabhupada books. You need to read Vaishnava books, and you need to use your skill sets in preaching, Prabhu. So it is like you have the license, you have the money, you have everything, but you still prefer to walk the long distance rather than taking a vehicle or basically even taking a train ticket. So you have everything with you, Prabhu. We just pray that you use it for best of Krishna service. And you have spoken extensively on Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's pastimes. I'm not sure if I might have missed this, but I could recollect a couple of them. One is even though Prabhupada says that he was illiterate, but he used to always carry Narottam Das Thakur's a couple of books, so which is very amazing. and he used to hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly during some phase of life from Bhakti Vinod Thakura. And in one of the pastimes that I recollect is again, sorry if you have already mentioned that you spoke of many pastimes, so probably I would have missed that. So it was Sanatan Goswami's disappearance day, and Babaji said that we should have a great festival today. And then when one of the servants who was nearby, he said that we do not have any financial support or any kind of monetary support to actually host a festival, so how do you suggest we do this? So Maharaj said, Babaji said that we actually need nothing, so we just need to fast and chant on this day, chant the name of Krishna and fast, and that is how we can in this humble way celebrate this festival. So probably he reinstalled, or he might have started the practice that we are currently doing in ISKCON, wherein when we have the disappearance days of some acharyas, or the apparent day we fast for half a day or so. So this actually shows his kind of humility, and as it rightly said, it is personification renunciation. While you were mentioning his pastimes of renunciation and the way he was renounced, I was thinking how fortunate I am to be with during the time of Srila Prabhupada. So if I would have been during his time, I am for sure that I wouldn't have taken up bhakti, because it would have been difficult for me to actually renounce everything to take up bhakti. But Srila Prabhupada, being merciful upon all of us, he has kind of been little flexible with this, and then he said, okay, don't leave anything, but try to use everything in Krishna's service. Do whatever you want, but at least at the minimum chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulatory principles and read my books, Prabhupada's books. So this seems more more easier to pick up than what would have been during Gaur Kishore Babaji's more stricter, a more ideal, I mean even this is ideal, but a more stricter way of following it. So we are really very fortunate to be during the time of Srila Prabhupada, and we are very fortunate to be in this association with all of you and other Vaishnavas. So I think we should take the best, as Prabhupada, best the best benefit of the bad bargain or something, right? So we should sorry, Prabhu.
The best use of the bad bargain.
Yes, Prabhu, Haribol. Thanks, Prabhu. So yeah, Prabhu. So this is just what I realized. So we are very thankful to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Himanshu Prabhu. Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol. Now I'll call Swastik Chaitanya Prabhu to add his comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No problem. Sorry, Prabhu. Just I missed the class. Just now I come there. The 8:30 only I joined. Last Prabhupada court only I attend. Sorry if मैं सुना बहुत सारा, सबसे सुनने से मैं समझ गया बसंत का प्रभु का कीर्तन कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि उदाहरण दे सकते तो वसंत ऋतु का जैसा आपका कीर्तन हुआ बोलकर समझ गया इसमें से। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। फिर भी वैष्णव का द्वारा आज आप लोग संघ में आने में बहुत भाग्य मिला। नेक्स्ट वीक में जल्दी आने की कोशिश करूँगा। इस बार मैं याद नहीं था, प्रभु मैसेज भेजा, मैं देखा नहीं, पर लेट अटेंड किया। नेक्स्ट वीक में शुरू से अटेंड करेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रभु जी। क्लास में अटेंड नहीं किया इसलिए कुछ बोल नहीं पाया। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for your darshan. If no other comments, like I'll just stop the recording. Then we can quickly pray for all.